Look, like I do on my channel, are we live?
Are we live?
Are we live?
I think we're live.
Good evening.
Hey, hey,
We have a
hey.
comment there.
Yes, that's
We're
one of my
live.
financial besties.
Are
And
we
she's a
live?
member, one of the VIP members in my YouTube community. But hey, hey, hey. I am on tonight with my beautiful melanin sisters. I love it. Look at all that melanin popping on the screen. But what we have joined together tonight to do, and what you will learn more about, what we're going to continue in the future, is that I just had this wonderful idea to reach out to my sister friends who are also money coaches, beautiful Black women money coaches. And I just asked them to collab with me to talk about money matters that affects us as Black women, that affects us and our community. And they all said yes. And here we are.
Thank you, Malika, for inviting us. I have to say, hey everybody, I see y'all in the chat. Y'all going off
Hey.
early, aren't y'all? I have to say, I didn't even realize how badly I needed this until we got on the Zoom call to talk about doing it. Seeing all this brown skin, these women at the same time, we are in a heavily white male dominated industry. And oftentimes when I walk in rooms, I'm the only one in the room. I'm either the only woman of person of color or the only woman. So I definitely don't see a lot of Black women. The combo together is even harder to find. So to see us all here in this one space and to build this community and hopefully to have other women who are also in the financial community to connect with us and engage in a conversation with us and normalize all the conversations that Black women, Black families need to be having around money. So thank you, Malika, for coming up with this idea. I'm excited to be a part of the crew.
Yes. Thank you for saying yes.
Yeah, this will be
So we
what,
should
raw real conversation, right? Unscripted. We who knows what might end up happening, y'all. Mike can say it. It just
hey,
never comes
look,
out.
in my coaching program, I call the Zoom call the boom boom room. You never know what might pop off in the boom boom room. But let's start with some introductions so our people can know who we are.
Yeah.
Want to start, Emily? Want to kick us off?
Well, yes, I will. My name is Emily Macklin. I am a financial coach and have been the last 5 years. The last 2 years, I've been full-time. I left a corporate career, a 20-year corporate finance career back in the middle of the pandemic to do this full-time. And I am still trucking. I'll put it like that. Okay. So I'm the creator of the Savvy Steward program, financial coaching program, and I help 6-figure earners stop living paycheck to paycheck. I know y'all out there, and guess what? I see you. I see you. This is a safe space for 6-figure earners who live paycheck to paycheck. I help them to elevate their level of financial responsibility and leadership with the money that they earn. So that is me. I'll pass it off to Coach Shiante.
Emily, can you put your website in the comments?
Yes.
For those who may want to find you?
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks.
Add it in there. So thanks, Emily. Look, Emily and I go way back. We actually started financial coaching together. So we started at the same time. We actually did the initial training program together to learn how to get a financial coaching business going. So spring 2018, we go way back, starting at the same time.
Yep.
And I also have had a similar journey. Like we both end up leaving our full-time jobs last January, so almost 2 years ago. But so similar to Emily, my name is Chiante Jones, and I am a financial coach. And I'm the founder of Dollars and Change, where I have a coaching practice that supports the financial empowerment and well-being of women. Similar to Emily, I work with well-paid women who have climbed the ladder and are making good money, but are trying to learn how to better manage it. So helping them to find more flexibility, fun, fulfillment with their money while still building that solid financial foundation to build wealth. And really remove money as the barrier and the one place in their lives where they don't feel as successful as many of the other places. I've worked a 16-and-a-half-year career with the federal government and banking and finance to take the leap, become a full-time coach. I'm a certified personal and executive coach, and I have personally experienced the freedom and flexibility that comes from having well-managed money, having built up my retirement, and then was able to build my net worth to become a millionaire, and just took the leap and said, okay, I'm going to pursue my dreams and be an example for others out there that, hey, you can do this too.
Yes, I love it. Y'all hear them credentials? Y'all hear them credentials dropping? I love it.
Yeah. And I will pass it to Malika. You want to go next?
Oh,
Before
sure.
Malika, before you pick up, I want to put up Emily's info so that way people don't miss out on how to connect with Emily, because I didn't get to put that up while she was chatting. So for those of y'all who want to find,
thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Malika.
Cool. Hey. I am Malika, and I am also a money coach. My financial journey started as a single mother on welfare, and I was on welfare for almost 10 years. However, I learned how to invest in the stock market, and that is what helped me to achieve financial freedom. In May 2022, I also walked away from my 20-year career, my six-figure salary, chucked the deuces, because when you're financially free, you can do whatever you want to do. And I've been slow traveling the world ever since and living my best life. But as a money coach, I help women who look like me learn to invest with ease, to also achieve financial freedom and live whatever you love. And if that sounds like your vibe, that's my YouTube channel right there on the screen. Feel free to come on over and join my tribe of financial besties. Subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell so you will be notified whenever I release a new video or go live, which I do on my channel on Friday nights at 7 p.m. So nice to meet you all. And if you join my community, welcome.
Nice. Well, I guess that just leaves me. I am Coach B, owner of Young, Rich, and Rooted. It's so interesting how similar all of our stories are, how connected they are. So it seems to me that we all are pandemic corporate exiters. we all left corporate environment during the pandemic, so we've got that in common. My financial journey began, I would say the part that's a pivotal moment is being a single mother in a transitional home, realizing that I had a decent career that was just decent enough to edge myself out of social services. So I made too much money to get help, but I didn't make enough money to really survive. And I realized that there was a gap. There was a lot of people who were in a position where they could not get the support that they needed. They did not have resources available for them and to them, and they couldn't move forward. And I really wanted to provide the resources that I wish I had during that season of my life. I also realized at that time that there was a lot of things going on in my life personally. I was a survivor of domestic abuse and some other forms of trauma. And during that time, I actually believed that I could not afford to prioritize my self-care, that taking a day off of work was not optional. I needed to check out of the hospital immediately because I couldn't afford to miss a day of work. And I realized that nobody should be in a position where they can't afford to choose what's best for them. And my goal is to help make women make clocking in optional. My goal is to get people to a point where they no longer have to decide between their health and their wealth. And to do that, they have to do better with their money every day. So before you invest, my goal with the clients that I work with is to help them build better habits with the money they're already getting, so that they have what I call FU money, financially fuck-wittable money, that they can turn around and invest using some of Malika's strategies, right, and learn how to multiply that wealth. But I work with people who are dealing with the fundamental tools and skills that they need just to manage the paycheck that they're already getting, so that they can eventually become investors, eventually become millionaires, and eventually make clocking in optional.
Love it.
I love it. I love it. And that's a really good point that you made, Coach B, because in my coaching program, I do not coach anyone that is still struggling financially, that don't have a stable income, that has a significant amount of what I call high interest debt. And what I consider high interest is anything that's higher than the current inflation rate. So, yeah, so you make a good point. They have to get to a point in their financial journey where they have some stability and they have some excess to live on, so they have the money to invest. So, yes, so you would be the person they go to first. And then when they're stable, come on over to me and I'll show you how to be a millionaire. So you can really leave that job and leave it for good.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. But what are we talking about tonight, ladies? Oh, before we get into any conversation, I wanted to share what we're planning to do going forward. So this is something that we're going to do on a monthly basis, right? Feel free to
Yeah.
chime in and correct me.
Yeah, monthly.
This is something we're going to do on a monthly basis on the second
Monday.
Monday of every month. And although we met tonight at 8 p.m., going forward, we're going to meet at 7 p.m. Eastern. So once a month, the second Monday of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Put it on your calendar.
Yeah,
Right?
go ahead.
I was just about to say,
If you watch
Lock it in now.
don't
Lock
do
it
it
in now.
later.
Join
You
the
got our
conversation.
permission to toggle away, mark your calendar, set an alarm.
Yes, yes. And we're going to come to you with different topics. This is just going to be a casual chat, nothing formal. We're not doing the typical finance bro thing. This is just 4 Black women friends that's just getting together, talking about the money issues that affect us in our community. So if you have any suggestions that you would like us to talk about, any challenges that you are currently dealing with, feel free to drop them in the chat and we will add them to our list. But every time we get together, we'll bring a new topic to you that we think is essential to us and our community, or that impacts us in our community. Right, ladies?
That's right.
Yeah.
To have the conversations that a lot of times aren't being had, but that issues that we're dealing with as Black women, as women, as Black women, and things that we face in our culture, in our family, in our careers, just having that space to talk about it.
Yes, yes. And this is a safe space. I think Emily mentioned that. This is a safe space just for us. Anybody come up in the comments talking left, we will boot you. Don't come for us. This is a conversation for Black women, a safe space for Black women. So, B, what's our topic for tonight?
I wanted to say this was for us, by us, but I didn't want.
Hey,
I love it. Say it.
Right.
Say it. I love it. Look, as long as we're not cussing, my channel monetized, so ain't no cussing. But I don't want YouTube to give me a strike on my channel.
Thank you for that note, because my brain has a curse word right on. Right in it. I'll just F you money. I won't spell it out anymore.
Right.
The topic for today was keeping up with the Joneses, the influence of social media on the appearance of affluence. And this conversation, so first of all, you guys, we want to know what you guys want us to talk about, because this conversation is for you guys. So we want to make sure that we're having the dialogues that you have been dying to have around money, the questions you have that are plaguing you, that you feel like nobody understands. You walk into this room and nobody really gets you. Please let us know. But this conversation came up as we were discussing what to talk about, because we thought about how many people are making themselves broke trying to keep up with others, and how back in the day, when keeping up with the Joneses only literally meant your neighbors. Like, you had no way of knowing what somebody 2 towns over were doing. You saw your neighbors who lived in your 50-mile radius, and that was just about it. But social media has opened it up where you're now seeing your friends who live in Texas, who live in Alabama, who might have a lower cost of living, who are able to get way more square footage for their dollar than you get. And you in New York, in California, you're feeling like I'm doing something wrong because I'm not living the same way, because we're comparing ourselves from completely different life scenarios presently. And it's making you feel depressed. It's making you spend money you don't really have. It's making you deviate from your goals. And so we really wanted to talk about how social media is affecting us on a daily basis, and not just as individuals, but as business owners, because we experience that in our businesses where we see other coaches and other business owners that just seems like they started today and they took off, and you start to feel a little imposter syndrome, or start to question whether you're doing something wrong. So I would love to hear your feedback, both in the audience and on this panel, around the topic.
Yeah, this was a good topic. The first idea that comes to mind for me, can you highlight those comments for me first? Because usually when I go live, I say hi to my community. Hey, Kimmy. Hey, girl. Hey. And what you're seeing is I I talk about making money babies. So I help my clients make money babies when we invest and make our money work for us. So in the chat, you'll see, and then the other one from Venus. So in
Oh,
the
I got
chat,
all of those. Yeah, I got them. I
oh,
got them. I
okay.
got
So
them.
when you
Yeah.
see the money bags and the baby face, that's what that is. They they dropping the money bags in the chat with the money babies. I love it. I love it. Hey y'all. Hey financial besties. But the first thought that comes to mind for me is like on social media, it's a highlight reel, right? It's a highlight reel. It's not to say that that everybody is faking it, but they're only showing you their best parts, right? And as a business owner establishing a business on social media, I see a lot of other business owners what's that do what's called lifestyle marketing,
Mhm.
and they will show, especially if they're in an industry that's teaching people how to make money, right? So the financial coaches, but also the business coaches, the life coaches, and things like that, the people that are teaching people how to make money. So their lifestyle marketing, they're trying to demonstrate this lifestyle that shows, if you buy into my program, you can live like this. So they're showing pictures with the luxury vehicles, they're showing pictures and the big houses and the beautifully decorated homes. And I remember watching a YouTube video one day, and they were like dispelling the myths of social media and the misconceptions. And he said a lot of these business owners that do lifestyle marketing, they rent the houses on
Yeah.
Airbnb, they rent the cars, and they have a content day.
Yeah.
And that made me laugh so hard, because I'm like, here I am thinking I have to do lifestyle marketing, and I have to show certain parts of my life that I may or may not be comfortable showing, because I feel like that's what you have to do to be successful. And they're fronting the whole time. They're
Yeah.
capping the whole time. So that also relates to like personal lives, people sharing their highlight reel. You don't know what's smoke and mirrors and
Yeah.
what part of that is the truth. But when you see it, it's easy to judge yourselves because you assume that is true.
Yeah.
I like she said, I feel like Tara said, I feel like a lot of people have a content day in their real
In
life.
their
And
real
that
life.
made
Yes.
me think
They're showing.
that
They
you
are
were
showing
talking.
you the best parts, right?
Yes.
The best parts.
It made me
Yes.
think of pictures back in the day of like guys posing in front of somebody else's car, and
Right.
holding up bottles that their friends bought. Like there is this there at every, I think every stage of your finances, there's a version of that maybe they're not renting Airbnbs because they can't afford to do even that at that point, but they're doing some version of that. And just having perspective is really important. And then I think also remembering what you value in the first place. Like a lot of times seeing what other people are showing you might make you feel like I should want this. But to your point, you're like, do I even care about, do I even want them to see? Like I realize that I don't. it's not important to me. I never wanted a big house, but I feel like I should have one and should be showing one because everyone else is doing it. But I hate yard work. Now I gotta buy this big house.
But my thing is, what if you own a big house, but you're not comfortable sharing it on social media? But with the lifestyle marketing, you feel like you have to share what you have because you need to present yourself as somebody with money. That doesn't sit well with me.
Look, a lot of times wealth is quiet, right? A lot of times people with a lot of money or who
real wealth, yes,
like real wealth is quiet. A lot of times you don't know. They're not super flashy necessarily, and they don't feel the need to like impress other people, generally speaking. And that's one of the reasons why they have money. It's because they are selective and intentional about how they spend it, right?
Right. So, and don't care what other people think.
Yeah. So yeah, looking at the social media and people's highlight reels, just know that all that glitters is not gold, for real. And when you was talking about people renting things, Malika, it made me. I've seen like little videos or like behind the scenes footage and stuff like that, where people have revealed like what things really look like when they're filming stuff, and they'll have like things stacked on books and like boxes and this, that, and other, or like zoom out and you see they were like laying on a pile of sand somewhere where it wasn't even really a beach and stuff. Like that's what it makes me think of. Like, not that everybody is like that. That's not everybody's thing, but like you just don't know because a lot of it is an illusion of somebody's reality. Like, so like you are just seeing parts of it. But the values part is a huge piece of it, of questioning like, do you even really want that? Like that you see them have that, you see those things that like doesn't even align to what you actually want for yourself. Because I think a lot of times like we are constantly being sold to, like things are in our face all the time. And like it's showing you or trying to tell you what you need. And like you have to like take the step back for yourself and decide like and really evaluate, is that something I even want? Or am I wanting it because I think I'm supposed to want that?
So I want to get Emily's feedback. Before we do, I want to, because you just said we're constantly being sold to. So I want to highlight a question that we got in the chat, which was, how do you stay more mindful financially when bombarded with online ads and influencers doing branded content? So Emily, I want you to give your feedback on the conversation we just had. And then if you could kick off answering Eileen's question, that would be great too.
Yeah. So I, in my practice, see women, like it is a real thing, that comparison to themselves, seeing a college friend being able to post pictures from a trip to Dubai, seeing a neighbor, bought that new Mercedes. It literally eats people alive. It literally eats them up inside, the comparison that they see. And like you're saying, you don't know if they can actually afford that $1,000 payment on that car that they just bought. You don't even know if they can buy groceries now that they just bought this $1,000 car payment that they're paying on this car. We don't know what's going on. We see the highlight reels and think that we are missing out. We think that there is something that we are doing wrong, and we think that we are so behind. And this is what I hear clients say.
Yeah, they're behind.
I'm behind. I'm 43 and I can't buy a house. I'm 48 and I don't have any money saved. I can't afford a trip to Dubai. But like you all are saying, many of them are not even thinking about, do I even want that? Have I been influenced by something on the outside? And I'll even throw in, because I have been personally influenced, I'll throw in reality TV. It is equally as powerful as social media. In particular, these housewife shows and these shows where you see them taking trips and you see them getting on the boats and doing the things. And I don't know about you guys, but I've done, do girlfriend trips with my friends. And I feel like I have found myself trying to do a version of renting a yacht. Let's get a boat, or let's go have a rooftop dinner. But it's all of these things that are in our face. And going back to the question, you have to decide consciously. You got to stop sleeping. You got to wake up and decide consciously that you're not going to be just floating away in all of these things and all of these influences. It starts with understanding what it is that you want. Many of us aren't having these conversations. We know that we want a paycheck. We know that we want it to come every 2 weeks. That's about the end of the conversation of what we know that we want. We never think about what is important to us. What are our values? What's most important to us outside of just having money for the sake of having money? So it starts there. with really understanding what it is that you want out of life, what you want money to do for you, right?
Because money is just a tool.
It's just a tool.
It's
And
just
what do tools do? Tools help us do things that we can't do with our bare
Build.
hands.
You know, when you said that, it made me think of it's one of my favorite quotes, and I say it all the time. We often give up what we want most for what we want right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what we want most might be to make clocking in optional, but what we want right now is to flex on the gram.
The
And
flex on the ground. That spirit of
and
flexing. One of my girlfriends used to say she was delivered from that spirit of flexing because she would buy new cars like every 2 years or whatever. And she was like, I thank God for being delivered from that spirit of flexing. It is a real thing.
it is. And you
Can
know,
you
one
put
of the
the
best
question
things
back
about,
on the screen so I can see what we're
yes,
addressing?
one of the things I'm grateful for having gone through living in a transition shelter is it taught me to enjoy flexing in reverse. Like, I love being able to be like, found it at a thrift store, found it at a consignment shop, like $3.99. Like, I love the flex in the opposite in the opposite direction. And that makes me feel really good to have paid. But again, I feel like that's what, we look at all these wealthy people who appear to be doing all these things, but they're having these trips paid for, they're being sponsored, their clothes are being bought for them. They're flexing in reverse. It looks like they spend a lot of money, but they probably are not paying for half of the things that you're seeing anyway. But
Yeah,
so
I was
the
gonna say,
question,
to me, like when it comes to flexing, like the real flex is having options. Like the real flex is being able to opt out of what's no longer working for you, what's not serving you, to leave a situation, to leave a job, to leave a relationship that is not where you need to be. And money is the resource that allows you to do those things and have those options. So like the real flex is having actual money that you can use to make choices in your life that align to what you want most and that give you what you need the most. So think about that as the flex.
yes.
Mhm. For me, how I stay mindful is first to clearly define what my end goal is. And the reason why I say clearly defined, because it's one thing to say, I want freedom. It's one thing to say, I want to get out of debt. They're broad goals. They're very passive goals. But if you say, I want to be able to quit my job by December 2024, that makes the goal so tangible and so measurable where your mind can't help but to think about that clearly defined goal you've established. So when you're distracted by the glitter, when you're distracted by the online ads or the branded content, because your goal is so clear to you, that distraction won't last very long because your mind will redirect you back to, I want to quit my job by December 2024. So the first step and what works for me is having that clearly defined goal. And that's what helped me. So when I decided that I wanted to reach my FI number, FI, financially independent number, that's your annual expenses times 25. When I decided that I wanted to reach my FI number, there were so many things that were distracting me along the journey because it took a long time to get there. But because I was so uber focused on that number, and once I decided how long I knew it would take me to get there, and when I saw light at the end of the tunnel, baby, there was nothing that could distract me from it. And I knew once I got to that number, I would have the ultimate goal, which was owning my time. I no longer have to punch a clock. I no longer have to commit to 40 hours a week of doing something that's dreadful. So clearly defining your goals in a tangible way that you can see, that you can identify with, that you can remind yourself of on a regular basis, that is one of the ways, not the only way, but that's one of the ways that can help you to be mindful when you're distracted by the glitter and all the things that look like gold
That's
but isn't.
that's good, Malika. What can you kind of describe how you handled those distractions? Like how did you kind of keep those blinders up, or maybe
Mhm.
you got a little distracted, but you got yourself right back in. What did you actually do when maybe those distractions came up, or they tried to get you off track?
It was a lot of internal talk. So let's say, for example, I live in the DMV, or I used to live in the DMV. Y'all know I don't have a home now. The world is my home. But I used to live in the DMV. And the DMV is a community of very affluent Black people, right? There is not a flex here because everybody has money, you know. And it is easy to see the big mini mansions. It's easy to see a Beamer drive down the street, right? I drove a Honda Accord, a 2004 Honda Accord for, I just, when I quit my job in May, I sold my Honda that summer. So I had that 2004 Honda Accord from 2004 to 2022. I could have bought a Mercedes, a Beamer. I could have bought the mini mansion, but because I was focused on that fine number and my ultimate goal was the freedom of owning my time, I had to do a lot of internal talk with myself. Malika, do you want that new car or do you want your freedom
What do you
more?
want most?
And many times it was hard to make that decision, especially when the Tesla came out with the car that I wanted, because I really, really wanted that Tesla. And I used to post all the time on my Facebook about the Tesla. And I would just allow those thoughts to flow when I was tempted. And I would even go so far as doing research and pricing the car. But when it came time for the rubber to meet the road, separating with that money, when I looked at my brokerage account balance and I saw how close I was to that number that will give me that ultimate freedom, that Tesla wasn't worth my freedom.
So what, you had a compelling reason, right? And that's what I think what it comes down to is having your own compelling reason why you're doing what you're doing. And one thing I often see with clients too that is missing, which is why financial coaching helps so much, is like being able to tie those day-to-day actions to that bigger plan of what you're doing. Like if you can understand how the decisions you're making on a day-to-day ties to the bigger goal or the bigger picture of what you're trying to do, I think it makes it a lot more real and it'll help you to be a lot more mindful in the moment when you're doing something, so that you can say, okay, like you're saying, like, okay, that's a big decision. I can buy this Tesla, which I know it might slow down my progress a little bit or derail a little bit, or I can stay focused and on my fine number and focus on getting there. And that's really my priority. So it gives you the options to make the choice, like for you to clearly see and decide, right? Understanding the trade-off of making the financial decisions.
Yeah, I love that. I was thinking about was, for me, there was a lot of, like, I like what you said about the inner work. For me, it was really thinking about what they were trying to do. When I would get an ad that was like so targeted that I know I just had this conversation about cheesesteaks and here we are, cheesesteak ad. I was like, this is creepy. But to me, it was illuminating how desperate they are for my dollar. They are stalking my phone. They are listening. And I'm not about to let
they are relentless.
Yeah, like I'm saying no.
The algorithm be doing what the algorithms do.
Yeah. I found it more curious and interesting to see, like, am I being targeted right now because it was listening to my text messages, or is this a sign that I should get it, right? No, I know I'm being targeted, right?
Yeah.
I think it was really being clear about those things. And the other thing was radically accepting myself. And that meant that when I was able to accept myself, I was able to put barriers in place to protect me from me. So a perfect example of this is, I know that I am naturally an impulsive shopper. I also know that I love home decor. Put those two together and it's going to be a problem. So I always give this example about Walmart, because, Walmart has these two doors. They've got the grocery door and they've got the home goods door. And I literally will not even park near the home goods door. I won't walk in that door. I walk in the grocery door every time, because as soon as you walk in, I'm next to candles and picture frames and bedding and a bunch of stuff that I'm a struggle to walk away from. So why even put myself in that position? It's like taking an alcoholic to a bar. Why put myself in this position when I know that's an area that I struggle with? When you know your temptations and you know your triggers, then you can put things around it. So I would say, create some awareness about what your temptations are, and then also what your triggers are, because you could not be tempted by something but then have a trigger. Trigger could be, triggers are typically an emotion, so it's like they're, you feel bored and you go shopping, or you feel depressed and you go shopping, or you get angry and you go shopping, or you smell something that reminds you of your ex-boyfriend or your current boyfriend, your new man, and you go shopping, right? If you're not aware that these things exist in you, then you're going to fall prey to them. But when you know that they're there, then you can put things into place to protect you from you. And there's no shame in that. I don't feel ashamed that I'm an impulsive shopper. I simply do not stand in stores with long lines because I'm gonna buy something dumb in the impulse shopping. It's literally called the impulse shopping section, because they know that people standing in line are gonna be like, oh, I needed batteries, I needed a universal remote control. I need some potato chips and gum that's sitting right there, right? I check out in self-checkout because they don't put that stuff there. Why? Because they don't want people stealing. So I know that if I go to that, I'm not going to have to deal with impulsive items because they don't put that stuff there. I'm going to get in and out. And I have that self-awareness. And so I can protect myself from the marketing, from the advertising, from all the temptations that would like to drag me back into submission. So that's my thoughts.
Betty, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I literally sent emails to my list today called "Save Yourself from Yourself."
Yes.
And this is what it's about. It's about putting guardrails. Like, really, kind of, it is about acceptance. Really,
I was literally just thinking guardrails, like when a child is learning how to bowl and you put the guardrails.
Yeah,
I was literally just thinking that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I call them. Like, putting guardrails on yourself, where it's not so much always like trying to, like, sometimes change is required, right? But sometimes it's just a matter of learning how to manage, accepting where you are, how you operate, how you work, how you think, whatever it is, and then putting some guardrails in place to manage around that. So I love the example that you just gave, Betty, about, like, if you stand in line too long, it's like, it's a wrap. I'm into buying something extra. So, like, that about yourself, not to go in that certain door. So you have, like you said, accepted, this is just how I am. These are the things I like. So what do I need to do to adjust, to manage the situation, to manage myself, and put those guardrails around it, so that it reduces eliminates the temptation, reduces the temptation. I can manage or control the temptation, or something like that, right? So I think that's really what it is about, like saving yourself from yourself sometimes. But you have to acknowledge that's how you are, right? Like, you just have to acknowledge that there are certain things about you, and not make it wrong, right? It doesn't have to be wrong. It doesn't have to be an issue. It's just like, okay, what do I need to do if I notice about myself to accommodate for that?
And it
That's why I would tell my clients.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I always tell my clients, managing your money is managing yourself, right? It is understanding, like you said, acknowledging where you are, acknowledging, all of the triggers, all of the things that get you going, accepting them, which is saying, okay, this is who I am. It's not getting me the outcomes that I want to get. What can I do? And then taking action around it, around what can you do? And what I love about what Betty is saying is it's these tiny nuances that might work just for Betty. You got to find that thing that works just for you. And, I always tell my clients, if I give you some advice that maybe isn't working, or you don't like how it's playing out, we got lots of tools in the toolbox to go back to the drawing board. But it's just about finding those little things that allow you to manage yourself a little bit better. But you got to take time to get to know yourself, know thyself, in order to be able to get control of thyself.
So, Emily, you bring up a good point. Can you share a time where you had to know yourself and manage yourself, and what tool did you use? What guardrails did you use to manage that situation?
Money is emotional, right? And this is something recent. Money is emotional. And I always say, like, we are oftentimes, when we spend money, trying to satisfy some kind of emotional need, some kind of emotional void we're trying to fill. My son came home. So my son loves Crocs, and he is hard on some Crocs. Okay. Like, he will tear them up in a couple of wears. And y'all know Crocs they're not, super cheap. And I had bought him 2 pair of Crocs this school year. And he came home one day. He has worn the toe out of these Crocs. I'm like, wait
a minute, the Crocs, the really thick plastic shoes.
Where is the toe? Why is your toe hanging out? I mean, he's looking like an orphan. I'm like, I did not send you to school like this, right? So he's come home and he's still wearing them. And so finally I was like, I'm just gonna go to Walmart. I'm gonna get him some Walmart Crocs. They was like $12 until I ordered some more, which I didn't really plan to order anymore because I've already bought him 2 pairs of school year. So I bought him some Walmart Crocs. He wore them to school. Didn't want to, but wore them to school. So he came home one day. As soon as he walked through the door, he fell into my arms and he said, "Mom, they made fun of me. They made fun of me because I had fake Crocs." So what immediately triggered in me? I don't want my baby being made fun of.
Right.
I don't want my baby being made fun of. So what? I'm gonna go spend that $40 on those Crocs.
Yeah.
Because I want to be a good mom. That's the emotional need that I was needing to feel in that moment.
Yeah.
I didn't want my kid getting made fun of at school. But he got shoes. What I need to go buy another pair of shoes. So I had to have that logical conversation that, okay, he has shoes. Why do I need to go buy another pair of shoes right now? I just bought those Crocs. I just bought those Walmart Crocs. So it's in that moment. And I'll be honest, I immediately grabbed my phone and I went to Amazon and I put a pair of Crocs in my cart. So one of the things that I do is have that conversation, that logical conversation. Do I need to spend this money right now? Do I really need to spend this money right now? He got other shoes that he can wear if he does not want to wear these Crocs. And the second thing is, like I said, I put it in my cart, but I just left it. I didn't hit buy right away. I left it there. I'm going to let it marinate. And I still have not spent that money on those Crocs because I didn't need to spend that money on those Crocs right now. It is a little bit of lesson for him to kind of stop caring what people think about what you're wearing or what you're doing. Don't it doesn't matter what they care. So, I talked to him about that lesson. But, it's just a matter of stopping in the moment. I always tell my clients, you got to create space between I want it and I bought it. You got to create the space between I want it and I bought it. So whatever that looks like for you, if that looks like putting it in the cart and walking away, if it looks like having a conversation with yourself, if it looks like putting it on a wish list. I have clients keep a wish list of things that are following them around on the internet, in ads. It's these little bitty just management tactics that are going to help you start to curb those impulsive reactions to these emotional triggers.
Yeah. As you were talking, I was you mentioned Amazon. It reminded me of some emotional triggers and habits that I have. I was the impulsive Amazon shopper. Everything came from Amazon. And even if I didn't need the thing because Amazon delivers so fast, why not buy it from Amazon? So I was placing an order on Amazon like every day and getting a package or 2, maybe 3 every single day. I had to reel that in. And one of the things I did, to Shiante's point about establishing some guardrails for yourself, I had to remove my credit card.
Yep, just move it on out there.
Delete my credit card out of the Amazon app.
Yep.
But I wanted to still have a way to buy when I needed to buy something, and also give myself some flexibility to not restrict myself so much to buy what I wanted to buy, but still have those guardrails. So instead of having the flexibility to spend as much as I want whenever I want because my credit card was in there, I would buy a $100 gift card.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so my clients
have a $100 balance in Amazon at the beginning of every month. So on the first of every month, I gave myself $100. When that $100 was gone, and I can spend it on whatever I want, whenever I want it. But when that $100 was gone, it was it.
Yeah,
and
that's
put
a
that
great way to put a
$100 as a
guardrail.
line item on your budget.
And I had to wait until the next month to re-up my $100.
Yeah.
And that's how I was able to deal with that issue.
Yeah. And doing something like that also can help you create more awareness in what your own spending habit is. If you see how fast you blow through that $100, you're like, wait a minute, gosh, I was really blowing up. I was blowing up my card, because it puts, like you said, puts that some parameters around it, put some guardrails around it. So it also creates awareness then about how much you actually are spending or how often you were going in there.
Yes. And then it
it.
turned into a little self-challenge, because I wanted that $100 to last as long as possible. So if the first month it only lasted 10 days, then the next month I want it to last 15 days. And then now it's gotten to the point where I don't shop at Amazon that much. So $100 can last the whole month.
Yeah. This is what I found, even that you're saying, like, so over time you was able to make it last longer and longer, because like what was happening was like your priorities were starting to shift, and your the behaviors were starting to shift. And this is something I'm sure you guys see with your financial coaching clients too, is like, I always say, like, as we do this work, your mindset will start shifting about what you're spending your money on. What's important to you will start shifting about what you spend your money on. And things that were so important before won't be as important later. And
naturally,
it's a natural process as you start to see what you like, how much different you can do with your money, how much progress you can make with your money if you just make these shifts. And it is something that naturally happens through the course of working together, right? I mean, I see it all the time with clients.
Me too. And this is whenever they start to see money left in their bank accounts on the day before payday, where before it'd be like $2, $3, negative 10, where they trying to make it to the payday. But when you start to build in a little intentionality and a little mindfulness, your money actually stays with you. It doesn't just get up and walk out of your bank account without your permission. They start to see money in the bank.
Like, somebody spent all my money. No, it was you. It was you. You spent like the money.
Right. So getting back to the topic of social media, what do you all have you experienced this with your clients or personally with yourself? You know, social media has become a digital platform for businesses. So even if we are not seeing ads or we're not being influenced by the Joneses, a lot of businesses are always making offers. And there are like a lot of strategic, clever marketing strategies now that make you think you need all the things. Yeah. Have you dealt with any social media influence that have convinced you to buy things that you really didn't need, or of any of your clients?
I definitely have. I feel like, I have, invested in programs and coaching, because I see the person on social media. I see all the fans that they have, or I see all of the fanfare around them. And it's like, I know I'm, early on struggle with things in business. Like, well, they must have the answer, and like you said, they have genius marketing that just kind of pulls you in. And I think the thing that really helped me kind of break out of that was, once I went full time, I learned so much more about my business, right? I learned what I needed, what I really needed, instead of being told what I needed. And I was able to discern, wait a minute, let me not get caught up in the hype. Let me only buy what I know I need in my business. But that only came when I learned things about my business that I didn't know before. Or I was, I think early on, you deal with a lot of imposter syndrome, or just you're coming from corporate, you don't really know a lot about business, and online business at that. I feel like it's a different beast. So
it is.
Feel like you need to get mentorship, or you need someone to tell you how to navigate business. And so it's just a matter of, kind of the same thing with personal, and right, just learning myself and learning my business. And so now I am much better with, hiring or buying based on a skill that I want to build. And got some criteria around how I invest in my business now.
Yeah, I was like that early on too, Emily. Just like, well, because you feel like you need all this information. Well, and then my personality type, I'm like, I want somebody to show me how to do this, like structure it for me, lay it out for me. And so like, and you think this is the issue when really this is the issue, but you don't know that because you're not experienced enough. And so I do think a lot of business owners go through that of thinking, oh, this is the problem I need to solve, when that's not really the problem to solve. So you buy this program or this, course or whatever it is, and like, oh, that wasn't quite it. Or it's, you bought the time and then it was off. Like you really needed something else before you could really implement that.
I've done that.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that definitely happens early on. And I do think over time you learn to hone in on more what the real issue is. And you do have more discernment in what you buy. But I would say like on the personal side, I don't feel as influenced. Of course, I mean, I see ads all the time. I think what it is with me of not being like super influenced by, like when I see like an ad for a personal thing, it's like, y'all, I'm really at this place in my life where I'm about simplifying, right? Like I'm just like, I don't want that extra stuff. I don't want to buy. I'm really big about, and honestly, that saves a lot of money because I'm just like, I'll buy things still, but like I'm about simple quality over quantity. Like I just don't feel like dealing with all that. If it's a hassle, leave me alone. Like so I think that has helped too. Of like, I don't even want to care what that Temu item is, or I don't even need all that, right? I don't care. Like don't try to sell it to me. And another thing I do that's not necessarily on social media, but like where I see this all the time too with clients is like, y'all clean up your inbox. Like y'all subscribe to so many things that are selling you marketing emails all the time, like that are tempting you, those Bath and Body Works and all this stuff. Yeah. Unsubscribe from a lot of that stuff. That'll help you to not feel like you have to spend when all these sales are going on or stuff you don't need and stuff like that. Unsubscribe from and it'll leave less clutter in your inbox too, like so you can actually see the things that you need to see. But those are some of the things that I do. I just think knowing where I am right now just keeps me from really being super tempted to buy a whole lot of extra stuff that I just really don't need, because I don't want the extra. I literally don't physically want a lot of the extra stuff.
I think it goes back to what Malika said about just being clear on what you actually want, like having that clear definition of what you want your life to look like. And I'm like you, I don't need a bunch of extra stuff. But I will say one thing that even as a coach, I am not delivered from CVS coupons, and every time I get one, I go find something now. Okay.
Did you say CVS?
CVS, girl. I need my 30% off. I can't let that expire.
I was about to say, as a coach, I haven't been fully delivered yet. I am not gonna come up here in front because y'all know what? This mug right here that says "Protect My Peace." I was influenced on social media. Yesterday, I just posted something in my Instagram stories. It was a calendar. Like, who even have physical calendars anymore? But I saw it and I wanted it because it said 2024 should be your effort year. And every month,
that resonated with you.
Every month had a phrase related to saying "F this, F that," and I was like, "Oh, I want that." Listen, I am easily influenced.
If you
my solution
go ahead.
For like small, and I want to emphasize small impulse purchases is to have a line item in my spend plan for BS.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe in we're human. We're human. We have natural impulsive reactions, and no matter how disciplined we are, no matter how tight our financial ship is, we're not going to be perfect. So sometimes we have to allow that flexibility in our spend plan for those natural impulsive things. And in my spend plan, I have a BS line item. And it's what I use to buy BS. Like I got 1,000 mugs. I'm a full-time traveler. What I need all these mugs for?
Yeah, similar to you, Malika, I have a fun fund, my FUN fund.
Right.
And so I just kind of like for whatever like things I might want to buy or kind of splurge on or whatever. So like when I do have those things where I'm ready to buy something, right? I'm like, okay, I have a fun fund to go in. So
so you don't have to restrict yourself so much and take all the fun out of life. But I'm about an epic calendar, y'all.
Let us know when you get it.
It's funny because I do see a lot of things, a lot of ads, especially on Instagram, whether it's skincare, whether it is a bag or some shoes. And if you were to look at my iPad, I'll often open up, I'll click learn more, buy this, get this, I'll click it. And I got like a million tabs open in my browser, and I'll go shopping. I'll put it in the cart. I just kind of leave it there. It's kind of like a release to just go indulge in the impulse. But just kind of be able to pull back whenever you get, to the edge. But I indulge. I say, oh, I want this, I want that, I want this.
Yeah.
Put it in the cart. Just let it sit there, come back to it. Be like, oh, I want to add this. I'll indulge, but I just won't go over the edge.
Right. And just want to point out two things really quick. So our sister B over here, she's having technical difficulties, so that's why she hasn't been able to chime in. Darn technology, but she did post in the comments. She says she purchases lots of coaching because of social media. So yeah, that's what all of you say. Y'all love coaching, huh?
Yeah, I did. Like I've scaled back a lot. Like now I'm just kind of like, all right. I've learned
how much would you say you spent on coaching this year?
Oh, this year, thousands of dollars. Yeah. This year. Well, just like every year.
How about you, B? I know you can't talk, but how much have you spent on coaching this year? Can you hear
us? She's typing it in.
Yeah. But anyway, while we're waiting for B, if you all have any topics, any suggested topics you want us to talk about in future Melanin Money Mondays, can you drop them in the comments for us?
Yeah.
Let's see. B said, I don't regret it, though. Investing in myself is a high value for me. So that goes back to her point of acknowledging what you value. I've just gotten better at determining what I actually need versus what I'm telling myself I need because of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Good
to me, like, it goes back to the values, right? Like, it's okay to spend if it's like aligned with your values. You understand why you're spending it, and it's not so being driven by, keeping up with the Joneses and stuff like that. I like to tell my husband, like, we don't have to keep up. We are the Joneses, right? That's my thing I say all the time.
Own it, honey. Yes.
We are the Joneses. Like, we don't have to keep up. So, like, be for yourself of, like, running your own race, not comparing it to everybody else, because really you don't know what's going on behind the scenes there. And that's really what it comes down to. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know.
Yes. Let me check the comments.
Yeah, I was looking at the comments.
Any suggestions? Any suggestions for future topics you want us to talk about? Drop them in the comments. We'll give it a few minutes. We're going to be wrapping up.
We have a kindred soul with Kim W. She says she's a CVS queen too. I feel like I'm missing out on these CVS coupons. I might look into this. I love a good coupon.
We're going to be wrapping up soon in about 2 minutes. So if you have any suggested topics for future future conversations, can you drop them in the comments, please? She's interested in income generating methods. So there's investment funds and future streams. Okay. Any other suggested topics for us on this panel? Give it a few minutes. But any last minute thoughts, ladies? Any last minute tips for how our audience can battle the social media influence?
Yeah.
You just gotta shut it down if you see it's negatively impacting you. You gotta unfollow, you gotta log out, you gotta shut it down. And you just literally have to be for yourself.
And know yourself, right?
Wake up. Like, I feel like we're in this financial fog or this financial slumber a lot of times. So you just gotta wake up and really be a lot more purposeful and intentional about how you move financially, online and offline.
Right. And my final thought, my final suggestion is just always remember that money is a tool. Money is a tool, and you have a choice in how you use that tool. So do you want to use that tool to buy things that you don't really need, that's going to take away and delay from you getting what you really want? Or do you want to use that tool to stay aligned with what you value and what you truly want? Whether that's your freedom, whether that's your sabbatical, whether that's your career break, or you just want to quit the job altogether, whatever your goal is, or buying a house, whatever your goal is, you have the power and you have the control to use that tool to get what you ultimately want. So you have to make the choice how you want to use your tool.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I guess I agree with everything both of you said. And just when you're having those moments where you are starting to feel triggered, I would just say take a moment to check in with yourself. Like, what is that really about? Like, what are you really feeling? What is it really triggering for you? Because that's part of getting to know yourself and understanding what triggers you and helping you create that awareness. So that then, like Emily said and Malika said, you can, um, opt out of certain things, unfollow, put somebody on mute or whatever it is, so that it doesn't trigger you as much, and you can learn to put those guardrails and manage yourself, manage your situation, which will ultimately help you protect your finances and protect yourself and your mental health, really, right? So all of that.
All right. Well, that is a perfect way to end our first Melanin Money Monday. Thank you, ladies, and thank you all that joined us tonight. And we will see you in January on the second Monday of the month at 7 p.m. All right. Bye for now.
Bye.
Mhm.